Yeah, hi. Someone asked on one of my posts about this tablet, which is the Asus VivoTab Smart ME400C, dual-core Atom Windows 8 tablet with full desktop experience, about the keyboard, the on-screen keyboard, whether it's any use, whether you can type on it. Now, for me, that's a very appropriate question because I did not know whether it would be any use. I did not own an iPad before this, nor an Android tablet. My previous tablets were old Windows XP tablet edition ones, and they didn't have a hand-usable keyboard on the screens. However, I was relying on the fact that millions of people own iPads, and they can use the keyboards, so it must be alright. And I obviously don't have great expectations. Just want to be able to take notes, type emails, do small things with it. And in particular, though, I did not want to even have a keyboard with this. I was buying a tablet to be a tablet, not to be a notebook, not to be a netbook. I just wanted it to be a thin, light tablet with nothing else attached. Now, with that in mind, I want to use this keyboard. I'm a terrible typist. I make lots of mistakes. I can't touch type. I just bash away and spend half my time correcting. Let's try it out here. I'm going to fire up the desktop. I've got Office 365, which is the rebranded Office 2013. Just installed this the other day, and it's very nice. Here's Word. It's got my recent documents on the left and lots of nice templates on the right. I'm going to use blank, obviously. There's the page right there. And in order to do this, I'm also going to demonstrate what one might typically be doing with something like this. I'm not going to open my emails, but you might normally have an email or something that you're referring to, or a website or something you're referring to. And the whole point of the Windows 8 experience over the iPad is that you can do a couple of things. You can see a couple of things at the same time. Not do a couple of things, you can see a couple of things at the same time. And so I'm going to open another application and get some content on the screen. We'll get Reddit. And I'm just going to copy the content from whatever it is into the Word document. Today I learned. Let's have a look at that. Okay, Neil Young once wired up his house to be the left speaker and the barn to be his right speaker so that he could listen to music from about in the middle of the lake. Well, there you go. We all learn something every day. So now I've opened this as well, but I've still got Word open on the desktop. So this is a Metro app, and I've got Word on the desktop. So what I want to do is bring Word out here, bring it over this side, snap it in, size it like this, and now we see Reddit or Baconet has resized itself to snap. It's got a snap view, which is good, a useful snap view. Not all apps have a good snap view. This one has a good snap view. You know, they need to do something intelligent or something useful when they get shrunk down to that size. And so this is the difference between this and an iPad. An iPad would basically just be this half. With Windows 8, you've got that half as well. And if you need to swap back and forth between the two, if you need to see more, you can do that, for example. And then tap things and view them here, switch back like that. Or if you really just want to do one at a time, you can go type, have a look, go back and and continue typing. That's also possible, of course. But we're going to use it like this. This is not a demo about Windows 8. Everyone's seen that. I just thought that was interesting about how it works. Okay, now the keyboard. In the desktop mode, to get the keyboard it doesn't come up automatically when you put your finger somewhere where you can type. That's what it does on Metro and the modern UI, but not in desktop view. In desktop view, you have to push a little keyboard button to bring it up. Now that's normally at the bottom, because normally the taskbar is at the bottom. Mine is at the top because I've always put my Windows taskbar at the top for forever, since Windows 98 or so, just because I believe that menus belong at the top, because that's where they all are in the programs, and so why not have my start menu and all that? All those things used to be at the top as well. I'm two minds about this now because of that keyboard. If it was at the bottom, it would be under my thumb. Don't know. I'll see. I'm basically used to having it at the top. So to get at the keyboard, just tap that, and there it is. This is like an iPad keyboard. It has a couple of modes. The default mode is like this, and it took me a moment to figure out the difference. In this mode, you can see down the side, down at the bottom, is the word taskbar, or status bar, sorry, not the taskbar. That's the word status bar, which has some tools on it. Some programs have a lot of tools and things down there that you might need to use quite often while you're working. If that is the case, so in this mode the keyboard just puts itself over the content on the screen. It just floats over it. But if you press this button here, this little dock sort of button, that makes the keyboard fill the space, and now the status bar is up here above the keyboard, so you can actually access those, whatever tools are down here. In Word, it's the zoom and the page layout and the word count and so on. So you see, it can be useful. I'll leave it like that for now, just for the sake of doing this. Now, I just bash away at the keyboard, and I've learned, just in the past few days, because I've only used this a few times for typing any more than a few words, and I've figured out that it's just like a smartphone keyboard. What you need to do is trust the autocorrect. If you are constantly looking at what you type and trying to correct errors in the middle of words, then the autocorrect doesn't get time to act. And if instead you just start bashing away at it and let the autocorrect do its thing, it's surprising how well it does. And I can see how it will improve over time. As you get better, you can rely more and more on the autocorrect. The trick is to be aware of that in the first place and not keep looking at what you're doing and trying to fix on the fly. You just let it go and then fix afterwards. And that seems to work pretty well. So let me just type this. I'm going to bash this out. Don't laugh. Neil Young once wired up his house to be the left speaker. Okay. Neil Young once wired up his house to be the left speaker, and the barn as his right speaker, and the barn as his right speaker, and so that he could listen to music from a boat in the middle of his lakes. So that he could listen to music from the middle of his lake. Now, you probably noticed that I still was correcting things on the fly, and that's a habit I'm still in from typing. If I know I've hit the wrong key, I'll just go backspace and hit the right key. And I'm still in that habit, and it's probably okay. I don't know. I'll just see how it goes. Let's just check this out. I mean, that looks pretty good straight off to me. For my typing, that's pretty good. Yeah, once wired up his house to be the left speaker, and the barn as his right speaker. Oh, now this is what I'm doing all the time. It says some that instead of so that, and I'm finding instead of down here, when I'm trying to hit the space bar, I keep hitting the M key. I go bang, and I hit the M key instead of the space bar. So that's something I've got to get used to, and everyone will have to get used to these kinds of layout issues. So it's gone some that instead of so space that. So the way to fix this is you tap on the word, and it brings up a little menu of selections, autocorrect options. So it's got smother, soothe, and so that. So I can just select so that, and that's fixed. Down here I've typed little, because I'm stupid. Okay, so little, let's just tap on it, see if it gives us something. Middle, there we go. There we go. Not bad. Yes, there we go. That was not too shabby, was it? Especially seeing as I'm such a terrible typist. Dink, dink, dink. Let's have a look at that. There we go. That was not too dabby. Okay, I just missed the letter. Shabby. Especially seeing as I just did IM there, because on my phone I'm used to doing that. Instead of going capital I apostrophe M, which is a whole lot of clicks, I just go IM, and the phone usually assumes that I mean I'm, and I was hoping it would do that here, so I purposely just went IM, and it didn't. Obviously in the autocorrect, it should have given me I'm, but it hasn't. Okay, see, that's not that great. There, that's a bit of oh well, so I've got to go I apostrophe M in that particular case. Come on. I apostrophe M. Okay, perhaps there are many minor things to get used to when learning to type on, oops, on a keyboard like this one. Perhaps there are many minor things to get used to. I've done it again. Tom type is supposed to be, the M is meant to be a space, so I keep doing that. Doesn't work, so let me just go in and use the arrow keys, which it has got, to make a correction there. There's a grammatical error. Word should, I'll just backspace over that. I don't know, so you can see how that works. That's okay. I'm pretty pleased with that, considering how little I've used this for typing and what a terrible typist I am. Just some other, so I think yes, you can use it. I think it's pretty good. It does what I wanted it to do. Just some other things around this, related items around this. There are other keyboards. There's this one for using with thumbs. I did try that when I first got it. It's great for your thumbs. You know, someone who's good at thumb typing may be used to it. I found my eyes kept leaping back and forth because, I don't know if you noticed when I typed just then, as my fingers don't respect boundaries. They just, if I'm here and this finger's free and I've got a G to hit, I'll go over there and hit it. You know, I don't care what this hand wants, I'll go and hit it. So I'm doing that all the time, so that was hard to get used to. It'll work for some people. Handy is that the numbers are there in the middle. It of course has this thing which you can use, which I've demonstrated in another video as well. You can type, you can, let me get rid of all of that, get rid of that. I'll just show you with the stylus. You can insert text. Oops, mistake. Just cross over the word. Insert text. Let's see, that works. Like, bucket that up. Correct that letter. Like this. Plonk. That works as well. I've demonstrated that in another video. You need to be a good writer, good hand writer, and this kind of capacitive stylus is only passable for that. In any case, that's another keyboard style. Now there is one more that I want to show you, because one of the irritations with this keyboard I find is that there are no number keys. And when I first bought this device and was setting up, all my passwords have numbers and other funny characters in them. And I'm constantly having to try and switch back and forth, doing numbers and stuff. Real pain. I'm used to just going bang, bang, bang and using a proper keyboard to put my passwords in. And you can't do that on this. However, there is an option for it. I'll show you what you can do. Get rid of the keyboard. Go into the Metro UI or Windows Modern UI settings, PC settings. This is where you know, it's sort of like a control panel for the modern UI part and some of the options on the device. In the general section here, there's a whole lot of things about the keyboard. show text suggestions, adding a space after you choose a text suggestion, adding a period by double tapping the space bar. See, I should remember that, for example. Capitalize the first letter of each sentence, so you don't have to think about capitalizing. It's worth looking at these so you know what it's doing. Use all uppercase letters when I double tap the shift key. Oh, so to type something out in all caps, you can either hold the keys down or you can just double tap it and then start typing. Saves having to hold it, and obviously you would probably either single or double tap it to release that. You can turn off the sounds. And this option here, make the standard keyboard layout available. You should look for that, turn it on, backspace, or just close out of that, and go back to the desktop here, to Word or whatever you're using. And now, there's your normal keyboard. You get an extra option here, right there. There's your even normaler keyboard. This is just like a desktop keyboard. It's proper layout, escape up there, backspace, delete, numbers at the top, function keys, F1 to F12, just with the function button. There's even a Windows key down here. There's Alts and Controls and all the arrow keys down here. And the best thing is, if you've got passwords that require numbers and things, or require characters like that, you know, other funny characters, you can now type them more easily and quickly. So that's worth, I think, keeping on hand. I should show you this, though. So Neil Young once wired up his house to be the left speaker. I'll just show you this. Neil, oops, tongue. Young once wired up his house to be the left speaker. Oh. It's unreadable. Neil whipping punks whatever. It's impossible. It just doesn't work. So that's funny. It's obviously smaller than a full-size keyboard, and it could just be that, but I just can't hit these keys properly. I don't know if it's because the proper 1/8 glass touchpad keyboard is smart, like the one on the Windows Phone, which does these cool things whereby it expands the touch areas as you type, depending on what it thinks your next letters are going to be. It actually makes them grow. Because I'm just whacking away at this, and I can sort of hit the keys better than I think I can. And so that's a big difference between those two keyboards. But it doesn't take much to keep that enabled over here, so you might want to try that out. Select and delete, things like that. That, I believe, is everything I can say about the keyboard. So, regarding the question, do I think it's good enough? Yes, I do. So long as your expectations are only that you're going to be doing your bit of PowerPoint, bit of email, and that you relearn this idea of not worrying so much about what you're typing. Just bash away and then look at what you did afterwards and fix it. It seems to work quite well. One last comment about typing on this. I don't have a cover. I don't have a case or a stand or anything for this. I'm using my trusty adze here to hold it up. That's a good angle. I've used this in cafes and the meeting room. And if you have to lay it flat on a table like that, typically in a meeting room or a cafe or something, you just can't see it. I can see it now because it's sort of dark up here, but you just can't see what's going on. And that's really no good at all. I'm finding it's impossible to use like that. You really have to have something for it to lean on so that it's brought up to that level. Now there is a case that Asus make for this with a funny folding origami system to give it a bit of a stand like that. I've looked at it on YouTube and on Amazon and so on. I don't like it. I don't think it's a very good idea the way it's done. It's got magnets to hold it to the base. That's fine. Hasn't got a magnet to hold it anywhere else, so it's just floppy. It doesn't go over the edges. It just sits on the front. It flops around. Plus, you're always bending it up into this funny shape, which makes it all loose as well. So I think it's a messy system. So I'm sort of looking for something else, but there's nothing else really at the moment to get. So I'm just still, using my phone or using something else under the back at the moment, and that's okay. But that is a consideration. It doesn't work if you have to hold it flat. And if you have to hold it with your hand, you have to type with one hand. It doesn't work very well either because the keyboard's just a bit big for that. You're just sort of leaping back and forth. It doesn't work very well. So that's a consideration, is does it stand? Have you got some way to prop it up or not? Okay, I'm going to close all this down. Close the desktop, close that, and we're back at the start screen. Thank you for watching. There's another good 20 minutes. Any more questions, ask them, and I'll see if I can do another video or just answer them for you. Thanks again. Bye-bye.